There we go. We'll make that the intro while it buffers. Mouth that mic. If you just speak up, you'll be fine.
All right.
I hope the kids at home are enjoying the soothing tones of music that Will can't hear. New mic, yeah, new camera.
Wow,
yeah,
fancy.
Yeah, things are
moving on up in the world.
Crazy town. Hope to all kinds of witty banter at the beginning of the show. We can play with this thing. Who knows where that came from?
I haven't seen since you've gotten a new computer too.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask Steve if he did that. The mystery prankster.
Mystery prankster. Everyone, there's a bird-sounding device that has been passed around the shop. No one knows where it came from. All right, why don't we kick this thing off by clicking on this thing? Boop! Oh, look at these guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Prop Live, your weekly show where we talk about prop and costume making. Take your questions, answer them to the best of your abilities, or of our abilities. I really need to write an intro that I use every time. Because every time I start this thing, I go, hey, welcome to Prop Live, and then I don't know what to talk about. Anyway, instead of getting a guest from the internet, I just dragged my shopmate Will onto the stream today. He's a classy dude because he's drinking a tall boy of Mike's Hard Raspberry. What is it?
It is black cherry lemonade.
That's right.
That's what they had at 7-Eleven.
Right? Yeah, so Will's here. He's been working on some cool projects. We'll talk about that, and then we'll go into the other crap we're doing. Oh, and we'll also answer your questions. So I've got the Q&A app thing. Should be good to go. Got some things showing up there. You guys watching live, you were awesome. Start sending questions via the Q&A app. I have a couple more from Facebook earlier today. But first, let's talk about what Will's been working on. Will, what have you been working on?
Painting. I'm doing a new ebook on painting foam props. Well, any props really, but the focus is more foam.
So people may have seen a while ago, they've been following your page, that you made a gun from Destiny. Yeah.
Also posted that on Twitter as well. I worked on a fusion rifle. One of the many models of fusion rifles. You can see one of them there.
Yeah, this guy right here. So Will built this thing out of foam, and it's awesome. And now you're painting it?
I am painting it. I'm currently wet sanding it. You can see my hands are very filthy.
Show your hands. There you go.
Very filthy.
Gross.
I tried to clean them, yeah. It's also all over my pants. Sadly, it's brown, so it doesn't look that good.
No, Will, show us your pants. No, I'm kidding. Please don't show your pants. Sit down. Will's working on painting some stuff, and you're documenting the whole process.
Yep,
yeah,
documenting the whole process. A couple of little pieces I did for demonstration tutorials on how to do different techniques, things that I use all the time for painting props.
Cool. And this is a thing you're working on for your next ebook, right?
Yep. This one was to show various ways you can oxidize and weather metal. So the bottom one is showing extreme rust, and the top one is showing extreme patina or oxidation of
like gold or copper.
Yeah, gold, copper, bronze. Well, gold does that. Brass, copper, bronze, all that.
Super cool. The thing I like about that is, we were talking about this yesterday, but we do all these goofy things where we'll take like solutions and metal powders and try and get these complicated but really cool looking fancy pants things. But all of that was just done with acrylics, right?
Yeah, that was all just painting.
Yeah, it turns out
no fancy chemicals involved in there.
You can just paint what you want and make it look pretty good. Turns out.
All art is about creating an illusion.
Yep, creating the look and feel of real rust. So if you guys want to get a head start and start trying your own stuff, just grab those acrylics you've got sitting wherever you keep all your art supplies, and you can start painting your own rust. And then when Will's book comes out, grab it, and he'll show you how he does it. Yeah, anything else going on you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm just working on painting stuff right now.
Yep.
Got the fusion rifle I'm doing. Got a couple other things I'm in the talks about that I might be doing. But I don't know if I could say anything yet.
Cool projects.
Cool possible projects.
Sneaky projects.
Sneaky projects.
All right. Awesome, man. Well, I'm excited to looking forward to the new ebook. I'm gonna hire you to paint some stuff too. So it looks really good. And what do I have going on? I'm working on the space guns, you guys who are awesome and who contributed to my Kickstarter. Those are getting out the door. My super cool shopmate Cassie has been helping cast a lot of those. I've been getting them boxed up, chipped out. Get this guy right here. This is coming to almost to an end. The prop space gun project, the Dracogen STV-1 space gun. I've got, according to my list over there, 20 something, 20 more to do. Some of those need to be painted. But yeah, it's finally getting close to the end of fulfillment on those. It's been a lot. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. It's been a lot of work, but it's nearly done, and I'm really looking forward to it. I have a couple of them that are going to get some really cool finishing work done on them. One of them is getting electronics put in it. One of them might get chromed. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've never chromed anything before, so taking one of my space guns and turning it into a chrome boy sounds really cool. So that I've been working on that. I have a commission I've been working on. A sword I showed a while ago. It's a sword from League of Legends. All the cool kids are playing. Hopefully get that out.
Must not be cool.
I went to the website and I got scared. I never installed it. What else have I been working on? Little things here and there around the shop. We have our new shop elf, April, hiding over there. Viking. She's got a Viking helmet. Getting her settled here in the Pacific Northwest. What else? I got a cool camera thing today.
Oh yeah.
You guys will be seeing more about that later. I'm able to. I worked out a deal where they let me play with their camera if I post stuff about it. It's a 360-degree camera, so we were playing with that earlier today. You'll see more of that later. It's going to be awesome. That's all I've got going on, and I think it's high time we dove into some of these questions after I find my mouse cursor. There it is. All right, let's start by taking some questions from Facebook from earlier today. We got one from Jay Cosplay, one of our frequent questionnaires. He says, I'm finally investing in a vinyl cutter to make my own in-house decals for my various props. I know you, Bill, have bought a few new gadgets recently too, but what other helpful tools have you got your eyes on, especially since Black Friday is right around the corner? Well, I want a laser cutter. I don't know if they're going to, like, if Full Spectrum Laser has a Black Friday deal, I'm on it.
That would be sweet.
I don't know if laser companies do that. But how about you? Like, what if something was on a crazy deal? What would you jump at? What could you use?
I don't know.
Maybe a knife sharpener, so you stop taking mine.
Well, mostly everything that I need, I just borrow from you.
It works out pretty well for one of us.
But I think a laser printer or a laser cutter would be awesome, especially for doing like fancy acrylic or etching. You can cut foam with that stuff. Different thicknesses of foam. All kinds of great things. What
about more? So, for example, I just got an oscillating spindle sander.
Yeah.
And that thing's great. I love it. Could you think of anything else like that, like more traditional?
With more a deeper
choke.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. I've got a 9-inch choke bandsaw. It's the Skill makes it, and it's okay.
That's it. A lathe. A lathe with the clamp, not a wood lathe.
So with a good chuck on it?
Yeah, with a good chuck on it. So you can clamp a piece in and it doesn't have to connect to both sides like a wood lathe.
That would be a good thing to have, definitely. Actually, that's something we could keep an eye on for Black Friday. I'm going to make a note. Black Friday. Lathe. I have a lathe, but it's the cheapest one you can get. It sucks and it's dying. So
Yeah,
might be
making funny
keep
noises
the eyes
now.
open. I like that though. A couple of weeks beforehand, before Black Friday, keep an eye open or make a list of stuff that you could definitely use. It would be an upgrade for you, or stuff that could use replacing. And then when Black Friday comes around, we can take a look. If there's that one thing we need and we have to stand in line for it, we can go to Home Depot. Do they line up in front of Home Depot?
They line up everywhere.
Yeah. Good question. Good question, Jay. I hope you have as much fun with your vinyl cutter as we have here, because it's like I made a sticker. I posted that yesterday. I printed out a sticker on just label paper with my LaserJet printer, and then I took a vector just slightly bigger than it, and I had it cut out the shape around the sticker like it was this jaggedy thing. And it looked cool. It looked like a manufactured sticker. Getting it to line up was kind of tricky, but I think I figured it out. So lots of fun stuff you can do with that vinyl cutter.
Yeah.
You had all the really tiny details on Star-Lord?
Yeah, the kind of circuit machine stuff on the side. We cut a piece of vinyl. We tried cutting a thin plastic, but it just wasn't enough. But that's where a laser cutter would work.
Oh,
perfectly, because you can put all that detail in.
That's right. All right. Thank you, Jay Cosplay, for your question. Let's grab one from the live Q&A thing here. If you guys are watching live, there's a Q&A app in the event page. You can submit questions there, and then I will click on them and I will answer them. This one is from Foosro Dave, another what's the word? Another common guest in the chat here, Foosro Dave. Hey guys, how would you go about cutting PVC sheet or styrene cleanly and easily if you don't have access to a scroll saw, or a bandsaw?
You can get, if you have a Dremel, they have little attachments or actual Dremel units in our models that are like little blade cutters. That would be great if you're cutting boards. I forget what they're called.
Is this the one that you just got that looks terrifying?
No. This one actually has a safety gun on it.
Oh wait, Dremel.
Yeah, check out Dremel. Just Dremel.com, see what they have. But they've got a tool, and it looks like a tiny. Yeah, that guy right there.
This right here.
Yeah, you can use that, or they have the other model over there on the left.
So is this an attachment for your Dremel?
No, it's its actual own Dremel tool. They have a tiny little Dremel scroll saw now. Is that what that is?
Go back, and they have a 3D printer, of course, too.
Jesus.
So they've got all sorts of neat stuff. A moto saw. So this is a scroll saw, but it's like a tiny handheld one.
What?
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
The moto saw, Multimax rotary tools, and you could also cut with a cutoff bit like that. You can definitely cut sheet plastic like that. It's not awesome.
I don't suggest the sanding or grinding discs
Yeah.
for cutting because it melts it because it's so fine. You want something that's like a saw blade because it's going to take chunks out as opposed to like a grinding disc because then you're just going to get a melty gooey mess. So
here you go. Rip and cross
like
cut blade. That'll do some cutting for you right there. This guy, yeah.
Yeah, I have an attachment that goes in a Dremel, but it's just
go.
the open blade, and it's terrifying. It looks like it belongs in a crazy horror movie doctor's office.
And then depending on the thickness of what you're cutting, you could just use like a sharp knife, like an X-Acto.
Yeah, if it's thin, you can score it.
Yeah.
Snap it.
Yep. Or go in multiple passes until you cut through. That's kind of a pain. What I would recommend is cutting it a little big, and then you can sand down the edges to get it clean.
Yeah.
Give yourself a little room, a little flexibility. So there, hopefully we've given you some things to, what's this called? The crosscut bit. Writing all this down for you guys. All of this info will be in the show notes later on. All right. Thank you, Foosro Dave. I've been playing a lot of Skyrim lately. So Skyrim jokes are not lost on me. Thanks to the shop elf over there. All right, let's see here. Suzanne wants to know, will you ever remake the Quarian helmet?
It's a question I get asked a couple times.
Yeah.
The silicone is tearing, and
on your current mold.
On the current mold. And also finding a new supplier for the material for the visors has been an issue.
Right.
So it would, it's been kind of complicated, and it's not really been worth it for me to recast and remake the entire thing. And if I did it now, I've done a lot of other molds and casting now. I've run quite a bit.
Yeah.
I would want to redo the entire thing. And do it
So,
differently.
so Will was pointing out that this particular plastic, this purple acrylic, is awesome for doing those helmets.
It's very beautiful.
Right. So you got that when you were when you lived
I got
down
it
in LA.
and
Yeah.
they even had issues getting it because they got it from another supplier, and it was difficult to get.
So you moved up here, and we went on a quest. We tried every plastic supplier we could find to get that color, and it just wasn't happening. For those not in the know, the Korean helmet is this guy right here. Boop. Ta-da. So,
a work in progress.
yeah. So you would say unlikely that you're going to remake it.
Unlikely. Maybe when the new Mass Effect game comes out, I
It's
might
true.
do one.
When there's a big demand for it.
We'll see. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Suzanne. Sorry for the bad news. But I'll tell you what. I've got an ebook you can read. Learn how to make it yourself.
Out of foam.
Out of foam. All right. Here's one from Nick. Nick was wondering what it is like sharing a workshop. Do you share tools? I noticed Bill has clearly labeled his super glue.
That was not because of me.
No, that was someone else. Will has his own
He
super
looks
glue.
suspiciously like you.
Yeah. So my major thing when I worked by myself in the shop, I did it for a couple of years, was that I was getting stir crazy and kind of missing the human contact.
Crazy talking to your cats.
Talking to the cat every chance. Whenever I was in public, I took every chance I had to talk to, like, the cashier or the lady at the post office.
It gets bad when the cats start talking back to you.
That never happened. Yeah.
Didn't quite get there.
So anyway, having someone else in the shop was super helpful for that. Having someone to talk to. And also, like, just little ideas, little things and parts of our workflow that, like, I might do every single day, but not think about it. And then Will will notice me doing it and go, "Hey, what's that?" And I'll say, "Oh, it's this thing," and it's something he can incorporate into his workflow, and vice versa, which is stuff that's happened frequently since Will moved into the shop, which has been awesome. And then as far as tools, most of the tools, like the big tools, are mine, just because I own the shop space here and the big tools, and Will moved and he didn't bring the giant 400-pound drill press with him. But other than that, I keep, like you said, like this, my workspace is Bill's workspace. Even when I'm not working there, that's my space. So if people put stuff there, I put it on the floor, and then they deal with it. But then I have, like, my specific tools, like my your
own Dremel. I have my own Dremel.
Yeah, the stuff that gets a lot of use, we each have our own of, but we'll take turns on the drill press.
Yes.
Yeah. How about you? I mean, you worked in a shop space with other people before.
I was the only one there who was doing it full time. Everybody else, they either did gigs or studio work or going back and forth. So there would be some times when I was there by myself. Sorry.
That's cool.
All day, and it was kind of the same situation where it got kind of lonely. Although I could blast my music as loud as I wanted.
That's right. Yeah. Woo!
But no, it is great working with other people and not being by yourself.
Some people do enjoy the isolation. Others, I'm a social creature. I need people around me.
I've definitely enjoyed being able to bounce ideas off of each other.
Yeah, and
share things.
More than just shop ideas and building ideas and technique, but we've been able to sort of test run, I don't know, business ideas, whether or not to take a commission, whether or not, like, we can talk about pricing estimates and stuff, and whether or not one of us might think something is a good idea or not. Should I do this? Should I take this job? That sort of thing. All of that has been extremely valuable. Thank you, Nick, one of the many Nicks who writes into the show. Annabelle Martinez, upon hearing that Will would be on the show, said, Ugh, that jerk." Thanks, Annabelle. Katie says, I'm trying to start up and have been net stalking the two of you for a while. Hello. Really wanted to know what sort of stuff you get the most business from. Commissions, blueprints, ebooks, or kits. When I got started, my idea was, I'll make costumes and props for people, like one-offs, commissions, whatever. And that immediately became not sustainable.
Yeah.
So the kits, selling blank, unpainted kits. Like for a long time, I was selling painted Mass Effect guns. And so if you're out there, you have one of those, that's a rare thing. Because I stopped doing that pretty quickly just because the time investment made it not worth it. I can crank out blank stuff really fast. Like you started doing that with those tally helmets.
Yeah, with the tally helmets. When I first got into it, I thought, I can make a huge chunk of money doing armor pieces because armor costs a lot because it's a massive piece. And I noticed a lot of my friends in the costume community were like, I'm not doing armor anymore. I'm like, well, if there's so much money in this.
Then I'll take those. Send all your armor commissions.
Realizing why they stopped doing it is because it takes so long and you can't sustain a living off of just that. So doing small things like kits or even now the patterns ebooks is a huge, great passive income thing. And it helps people out. It helps people learn to do things who don't have the budget to pay for one of us to do it.
Yeah. So this year I took a limited number of commissions at the beginning of the year, and I'm slowly churning through them throughout the entire year. But in between all of those commissions, which the commissions were pretty good this year, as far as if we're talking income, I've been doing lots more instructional content, videos, the ebooks. It's a lot of little things here and there. So I make not a lot, but I make some ad revenue from my videos on YouTube. I make now I have Patreon for the live stream. Thank you, by the way, patrons, for supporting the show. I make a little bit of money from that. And then my ebooks and blueprints, like you were saying, those in the last year have started to become a lot more significant portion of how my business makes money. So I've been, now I'm like, no, do I take more commissions or do I invest more time in the ebook thing? So I have to make that decision. But also, I enjoy doing instructional content.
Oh, yeah. I think it's much more rewarding to have somebody come up to you like, oh, thank you. You taught me how to do
that happened.
It's an awesome thing. And that's so much of a better feeling than someone's like, oh, thanks. I bought this thing off you. Then
well, people do still get pretty
they get pretty happy about that.
But when I was at BlizzCon, the first person I saw, I was like, cool costume. And she was like, you helped me make it. I was like, woo! That was really rewarding. Let's see here. Let's grab another question from Fuzro Dave. So who are your prop idols when you first started getting into prop and costume making? Harrison Cricks.
Yeah.
Probably it. I didn't really know. I wasn't really into that world very much.
Yeah.
My friends and I wanted to make Team Fortress characters. And actually, I mean, it's funny because a lot of those people are all now friends of mine.
Yeah.
When I was building my Hawk armor, which I posted earlier today from Dragon Age, I needed to know how to make the belt, and I found a reference of Lee Camara from Fev Studios, and she had made a belt, so I just copied her. That was way before I didn't met her for a couple more years, and now we're super buddies. So Lee and Harrison were definitely big influences.
Dave. Evil Effects too.
Yeah, Dave.
That's one person who I followed very closely when I started getting into this.
Yeah, and
whose stuff helped me out a lot. Evil Ted is also a great person to follow and learn from.
I didn't know. He's only really sort of broken into the cosplay world recently, so I didn't really meet him until about a year ago.
Yeah.
But here's Dave from Evil Effects, and he's a freaking wizard, and I've showed his stuff off before. I know. He made this Dyna costume and it's extraordinary. But a lot of us, especially Will and I, both got into this doing a lot of Mass Effect stuff. And Dave is like the dude who totally started that whole foam floor mat thing. So he's a guy. So go look up all those people because they're rad. All right, this question is, speaking of BlizzCon, this one's from my buddy Nick. How did you like BlizzCon, and how do I make Reaper's mask? Well, I enjoyed BlizzCon very much. I got to hang out with Nick. He's a rad dude. How would you make that Reaper's mask? Reaper. So, all right.
I didn't go to BlizzCon.
You didn't go to BlizzCon.
I'm not cool like that.
Someone just made one of these. Crap. Where did I see that? I saw one that looked amazing, but I can't remember where I saw it from. Anyway, here's Reaper. This guy with the guns. And this mask, it's supposed to look like a skull type thing, and it's really cool. And there's a lot of negative space in the cheeks and under the nose. And how'd you make that, Will?
Well, I would only make the white part.
Yeah.
I would have the black part as a mesh, like a flat cloth mesh that you could see through.
You mean like these little parts in the back?
Yeah, in the back where the eyes are at, things like that, so people can't see your face. You could foam fab it. You could sculpt it and cast it if you're really into that.
I have a feeling you would probably do the sculpting.
Yeah, I would do the sculpting and casting, body shop it.
I like that it's
very cool.
Very similar to your cultist mask.
Yes.
You could probably cast it in a resin that's close to that color.
Yeah.
As opposed to having to paint
washes.
it. Yeah, do a couple of washes on it. And almost make it look like bone. That'd be really neat.
Yeah. It's very cool, kind of an animalistic bone look to it.
Yeah. I would almost want to go that way just because I know I could finish it like that.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. Versus doing it in foam. And it's not, because he has a hood, it doesn't have to be a whole head thing. You could do just the front
just a
and then put a hood over it.
To come up to the top right about there.
So not a full head mold. Cool. That's how we would do it, Nick. Does this mean you're going to be dressing as Reaper next year? If they have a BlizzCon, of course. But is that what you're doing next? Is that your costume? All right. This one's from Rob, another frequent writer in of questions. How much of your business would you say is from being seen and handing out cards at cons versus other types of marketing like social and ads? That's hard to quantify.
Yeah, I send a lot of business cards with anything that I mail out, and that's what it gets from me. I send out business cards, and they hand it out, and I have no telling if they just look at the business cards, or if they actually do hand them out.
Yeah, I do think it's important that you try and hit all your bases, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a magic formula for how much time you should spend in each thing, but you do need to be, especially if you do your work the way that we do, to get your name out there. You need to be active in all those spaces. You need to be, like, for me, even though YouTube isn't a huge moneymaker for me, I don't make a ton of ad revenue from it. I'm active there, and it's another place where people can find me, where people can discover the stuff that I do. Same thing with Twitter and Facebook, and I should probably have a Tumblr page, but I can't make myself do it yet.
Instagram is another one.
Instagram.
I want to jump on that.
Yeah, totally. And then, but there is no replacing going out and meeting people.
Yeah.
So when I was at BlizzCon, I saw a lot of my friends there, sort of reinforce those relationships, hung out, had a good time. But I also met new people. I met other potential customers and other potential clients. Customers being people who might buy my ebooks, buy my kits. Clients who might pay me large sums of money to build giant Steve Wang size statues. Wouldn't that be awesome? So it's all important. You got to do a little bit of each. Make sure you hit all your bases. And then when you see which thing is working for you, you can sort of focus your energy there a little bit. All right. Let's see here. I'm reading my thing. Okay, cool. Reaper mask. I'm making notes. And then moving forward. Another question. This one's from Jaeger. How would you be able to make foam durable enough to withstand combat? It's for a performance, I swear. Sure.
That last little bit sounds kind of suspicious. Combat? Are you talking like LARP or like SCA? What kind of combat's the question?
Yeah, that's... So my major concern is if I'm wearing any of the armor that I've made, my Mass Effect armor, my sitting in the crate back there, my Draugr, and my World of Warcraft armor there are all made from usually a single sheet of floor mats, right?
Yeah.
If someone took a swing at me with, let's say, a baseball bat, it's not going to do anything.
Still probably gonna break a rib.
Not going to do anything to impede the impact of that baseball bat. Geez,
If anything, I would use it as a padding on the back of leather or steel.
or make or put padding behind it, like some more squishier foam. Maybe double up the floor mats and then put squishy foam behind it. Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. You're gonna have to take your life into your own hands and do a couple of tests.
You're not liable for any advice. From
Yeah,
me
I wouldn't
right
worry
now.
about your armor being durable and breaking. I'd worry a lot more about it breaking
If
the
you want something
impact.
to be durable, ABS plastic.
Yeah, so I do know a lot of people who do that sort of combat type stuff, and if they don't do it out of steel, a lot of them do. They'll do it out of like sheets of plastic.
Yeah, you can vacuum form ABS plastic. I don't know if it's a type of plastic or a brand, but it's called Kydex. I
Yeah,
think you can vacuum form that.
that's
as
the
well.
stuff they use to make like gun holsters.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. Foam may not be the best option for functional combat armor, but good luck. Good
May the
luck.
force be with you.
I'm gonna write down Kydex. That's a cool thing. I hope I spelled it right. All right, this one is from the River Studio. Hey there. I was wondering what your next prop build video would be. You want to do any videos?
I do. I
Yeah.
don't really have a video camera or a camera that does video.
Well, we have many of them around here.
Yes. I'm also not a fan of myself on camera.
Everyone,
So,
look at Will's face. He loves this.
yeah. I'd like to start doing like time-lapse videos, just builds.
That's a
where
good idea. Yeah.
Maybe I kind of talk and do some commentary and explain what I'm doing
Yeah.
as I'm doing it. Not necessarily show my face. Like,
Yeah. Well, this is what we do. We make a time lapse video of you working on something. Then we just voice over, and we'll just have you like suck helium beforehand, and it'll be awesome.
I would do that as long as I can still bring my mics or
Your mic's hard. Blackberry lemonade. Black cherry lemonade. I'm sorry. I don't. What's my next build video? I had something. I was putting together. Can't remember. I just did one about sandpaper or sanding tools. People seem to like that. But I don't know if I have a build video coming up. What's the next thing? I do have a couple of commissions coming up, and I'm definitely going to do videos of that. I have a commission to do Vash the Stampede's gun from Trigun, and I will definitely do a video for that.
Very excited to see that.
Yeah, me too. I hope it
Mostly
turns
'cause I
out.
want one.
I hope it turns out really well. That, among many other things, will all get videos done with them. Thank you, The River Studio. All right. Thanks for these questions, too. You guys are kicking ass today. All right. This one's from Rob again. Hey, Rob. Have you noticed the $5/$10 price points as being better for revenue and or cash flow than the kits and higher valued products?
It's kind of similar to the question we had earlier.
Yeah, well, the key is you want to have something in everyone's price range.
Yeah.
When you run a store, and if everything you sell is $500 or more, then you're cutting out a massive chunk of your potential customer base. So you want to have something for everyone. You want to have like bundled stuff. That's why I've got it's a really good deal for people, but also sometimes someone will show up to your store ready to spend $20, and you're like, here's my one thing, it's $5. So they're like, okay, no problem. They're like, cool, I spent $5 and I got everything I wanted. And you're like, but wait, you should have spent all that $20. So you got to have something for everyone, and you have to have enough stuff so that when people show up willing to throw coin at your store, that you've got enough products there so that they'll spend that money. But I have noticed the $5 price point, $5, $10 for like ebooks or blueprints seems to be, at least for me, a magical number. When people show up, they say that looks like really good content, and $5 is a no-brainer, and they just plunk it down.
It's almost 100% profit because you put it up in your store and you're good
Yeah,
to go.
because it's digital fulfillment, which is magical. Yeah. So I could, I'll probably take my ebooks. I mean, obviously, if I've got a set of 3, I'll put them together for $15. But also keep them separate in the $5 range too. So diversity, product diversity, very exciting. Let's talk about dick butts now. Joshua has a question for us. Joshua claims that we are really great. Thank you, Joshua. Do either of you work with clay to make any props? If so, what kind of clay do you prefer? Talk to that guy.
I use monster clay just because I had played a little bit that a friend had and was familiar with it. I know a lot of people like Chavant, which is...
I mean, monster is a type of Chavant, right?
It is a type of Chavant. Chavant, I believe, is brand, but it's like a wax-based clay. It's a little softer than monster clay, so it's a little easier to form and work with. It depends on what you're... Try out a little bit of both. But I use monster clay for Star-Lord.
There we go.
For Tali.
There's your monster clay. Yeah, so you can get it in a 5-pound block, which I ordered 2 of them.
If you want to do a full helmet, you'll need about 2. If you want to do masks,
yeah,
or like a half helmet, like Star-Lord or something like that, then I think 1 tub is fine.
So this stuff, it's really cool stuff. So I have 2 of these now, ready for the next project I need it for, and I'll let you guys know my experiences once I get to play with it. Some. Other than that, I've also used just plasticine clay for it's oil based. I think, I don't know. It doesn't dry. And it's non-sulfuric, which is good for mold making because sulfur will make silicone not cure. Yeah, which is bad times all around. Thank you for your question, Joshua. Thank you, everyone else, for your questions. We got a handful more here. So if you've got a question and you're watching live, throw it in the hopper in the live event page there, and we will answer it for you. This one is from Alonzo. Hello, Bill and Will. Hello, Alonzo. I know that Bill's wife 3D printed a helmet. I'm looking forward to print a piece myself. Do you have any suggestions before I give it a try? Nothing, Will?
I don't do any 3D printing.
No.
Not my department.
So Brittany and I, my wife Brittany and I went to school for 3D modeling. And the type of modeling that you do for animation is polygon-based, vertices and faces and stuff. And very artistic and crap. Not the best thing for 3D printing. The translation to go from a polygon to like an STL file or whatever, it can be a little bit arduous. We went through Shapeways, and they have people that do that for you. You just send them a model, and then they tell you what's wrong with it, and then you try and fix it, and you send it back and forth. So if you are doing like 3D polygon modeling, just be prepared that there may be a little bit of a back and forth between you and the people who are printing your file. If you're printing it yourself, good luck, because I did that recently with my brother-in-law's 3D printer, and it didn't go great. That's what one of my new videos is going to be about, some 3D printing stuff. I took a time lapse of the 3D print, which was really cool. I did photos and video and all that. So look forward to that. Any other suggestions? I don't know. It really depends on how you're modeling the thing you're going to get printed. Whatever it is, generally you want to make sure it's hollow. So obviously with the helmet, you want it to be hollow so that you can get your head in there. But the wall thickness on your piece for a helmet is very important, because if it's too thin, A, if it's too thin, they won't print it for you. And B, if it's too thin, it won't be strong enough. And C, if it's too thick, it will be unreasonably expensive. You go from a 2 millimeter to a 4 millimeter wall thickness, and it goes from $100 to print it to like $500 to print it. It can get way out of hand. Other than that, depending on the finish that you want to get on the final helmet piece, be prepared to do a lot of filling and sanding.
A lot of body shopping.
Yeah. Get like filler primer, which is like a really thick primer. You'll do a couple of coats, you'll sand it down, you do a couple more coats, you'll sand it down again, and then you'll do some normal priming and sanding.
And then your hands will look like this.
And then your hands will look all poopy, just like Will's. So that's what you have to look forward to, Alonzo. Good luck, and I hope it works out for you. Okay. Boop. This question is from my buddy Ryan. He says he just got his space gun and he's wondering what grit of sandpaper should it go up to for sanding it. Isn't that in the guide that I sent you, the guidebook? I usually go get a fine grit, what do you call it, sanding sponge, and I'll just give everything a rough up.
With a sanding sponge.
Yeah.
If you were to start wet sanding it, I think you'd be fine going up to 600.
Yeah, and it really depends on the finish that you want to get on it. If you want it to be really super slick and smooth, then you want to go up to some higher grits. But 220 or a fine grit sanding sponge. In fact, I have a couple of sanding sponges that are like beyond their prime. That I still use them because now they're like a 400 grit sanding sponge. Yeah, and then go to town on that thing. I'm looking forward to see how it turns out, Ryan. All right. Let's see here. Rob has a link for me. I'm going to copy it and see if the link works before I accept the question. Beep. 405th. It just sent me back to the 405th, Rob. Your link did not work. Sorry. So maybe resend that. All right, this one is from Vincent. Vincent says, I've got a question about ebooks. How long should a decent ebook be in terms of pages? I don't want to overfill it and make it too long. Did you have a philosophy going into that, Will, when you wrote the gun making one?
Just kind of went for a feeling of how much content there should be and what I wanted to get across. Before I added pictures, I think mine was like 15 to 20. On my new ebook right now, I'm at 16. I'll probably get to 17 pages before pictures and images.
Yeah.
Into that. Yeah, I don't know what in total, I think with pictures and everything, mine was around 30.
Yeah, mine was somewhere around there. I tend to just go with the matching the amount of content to the price point I want to hit. You know, like a $5 ebook, because so far has been a pretty magical place for me. So when I started writing the Foamsmith book, it was going to be one book, and after a while, I was like, man, there's a ton of content into this. So I split it into 3 books because the splits made sense. And I could get the content out faster, just one chunk at a time. And it made sense for me to fit that much content into that much price point. Obviously, if you're writing something, you want to complete it. You want it to be a full chunk of content. Yeah. Don't just be like, this is about $5 and just end it here. Make it comprehensive, but it doesn't have to be massively long.
Yeah. If you want to do a shorter ebook, that's $3.
Or if it's longer, you're like, it's $10. It's full of all kinds of good stuff. Then go for it. And the other thing too, I haven't done it very much, but you can always, if you're selling your ebook, you can always play with the price. You can. If tons of people are buying your ebook, you'd be like, maybe I should raise the price a little bit, or vice versa. No one wants my $35 ebook, my $35 35-page ebook. Maybe your ebook isn't worth $1 a page. All right, thank you, Vincent. This one is from Rob. Is there a filler like Bondo to use on EVA foam?
Not that I've found currently.
Didn't you grab some of that quick fill stuff?
I did. It worked all right. The problem is Bondo you can sand. The quick fill you can't sand. It gums up.
What's it called? Quick KWIK.
Quick fill. It's a caulking.
Yeah.
It's a caulking adhesive. It works a little bit. You got to really smooth it out before it dries and sets, which takes up to 2 hours. It's not bad if you have gaps you want to fill, but as far as something like Bondo, where you could sand it and really body shop it, I haven't found anything yet. I've got a couple of things I'm going to play with. There's some stuff called Flex Bond, which is for sealing foam. And there's a couple tricks I've heard to mixing Flex Bond with other things to create a filler. So I'm going to give that a try. And
this is the
works out.
This is the quick seal that Evil Ted suggested trying out there. I have not played with it yet, though. But you're not going to get that same fill sand down smooth thing you
No,
get with
no,
Bondo. Yeah. It comes down to density. And you can find this with Bondo and other stuff too. I have something that I'm working on that is mostly epoxy or freeform sculpt, which is an epoxy clay. It's fairly dense. And then it's butted up against something that is wood that's even more dense. So when I sand it, they sand unevenly.
Yeah.
Same thing with Bondo or with foam. Foam is not very dense, and if you put a denser material like Bondo in there, it's not going to sand evenly. You won't get that nice smooth transition. Rob says MDF and Bondo has been cheap but pretty slow going. It seems like EVA and epoxy sculpt or something would be equivalent. But for the next project, any ideas? Yeah, it's tricky because you're not going to get something that'll be like if you can get liquid EVA, that would be great.
That would be amazing.
But I imagine horribly toxic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're not going to get something that has the same flexibility and density as EVA to fill in. Not yet, no. But someday we'll invent that, and then we'll make $1 million. So yeah, just you gotta kind of design it.
But I do have a couple things that I'm gonna experiment with, see if they work. That I've heard other people say that works.
So there you go, everyone. Go to WM Armory.
Yeah. If it works, I will definitely be more than happy to post about it.
There you go.
Share it.
Thank you, Rob. This one is from Foosro Dave. If both of you were to work on a project together, what would be your weapon or costume of choice, and how many dick butts would be hidden on it?
42 dick butts.
That's a lot of dick butts.
I can make it work.
Yeah, you can fit a lot of dick butts on a set of armor. Probably both make Destiny costumes, right?
Yeah.
I see myself doing that.
Yeah, Destiny or I don't know, Dragon Age is looking pretty freaking sweet.
None of the armor sets are speaking to me though.
I've only seen the one spammed, and that's just like the classic Inquisitor armor. But they always have tons of other things in that game.
That's the thing is from Dragon Age 2, the mage armor that they had in the trailer spoke to me. I was like,
it's pretty sweet.
That guy.
It's a mix of armor and cloth and very, very cool.
But nothing in the new Dragon Age has spoken to me. But
I've seen a couple
Destiny
screenshots. But yeah, Destiny has some beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll both do something together, and then cover them in dick butts. I want to make a dick butt print like Louis Vuitton. Like when you get when you get a print. And so like my whole armor just patterned dick butts. All right. Next question. Thank you, Fujro Dave. This is a good one. This is from Ryan again. It says, how do you match paint when you look for it at the store?
So it depends on what kind of paint you're using. Yeah. Some paints are much harder to match than others, especially spray paint. If you go to some place like Home Depot or Lowe's, they've got a small range of colors, and they're almost always in gloss.
Yeah.
Never paint with gloss.
So I have like a handful of paints that I like, especially like you said with spray paints. If I want a flat black, I go get the Krylon Fusion black camouflage paint. I love that stuff. I ordered like 3 cans of it on Amazon, so I just have it in stock. For stuff that gets used frequently, I just keep a certain brand in stock in the shop. For other stuff, I just buy extra so that I don't have to color match later. I just make sure I have enough paint to paint it twice. So if I run out with 1 can, I don't have to mix something up to try and match it. I just grab the other can.
If you like doing the spray paint route and you want to really match a color exactly to the reference material you have, check out an art supply store. There's 2 brands I'm familiar with. There's Liquitex and there's Montana. Both are fancy artist spray paints. They're going to be a little more than your normal spray paint. They're going to be anywhere from $7 to $10. But you can get any color under the sun, and they are good quality, and they're all acrylics.
As far as matching the color in the reference to the color of the paint you're going to buy, that can sometimes be a bit of a crapshoot. I tend to not be really picky about that.
Get as close as possible, or close as you're comfortable with.
Part of the problem is if you're grabbing reference images from the internet, you have no idea if they're white balanced properly, if they're color matched at all. unless you can get hands on the thing you're trying to match, it's hard to do it anyway. And a lot of times, as long as you get it close, no one's going to run out and be like, I don't know, that looks like chartreuse, and I don't think the original was chartreuse. No one, like, I've never had anyone call me on not being perfectly color matched.
Even if it's a picture of something, you can take a picture of something in your hand with your phone, then hold it up next to the picture, and it's completely different looking.
Because of the white balance, because of the lighting, because of the color temperature and all that. So color matching is really, really, really hard. So get it close, and then don't tell anyone what you used, and they can guess, and they'll be wrong. There you go, Ryan. We got a couple more here, and then we'll get on out of here. Rob sent us a new link. Let's try that. Try this link here to the 405th. Beep. Hey, there we go. Oh, it's loading. Loading a whole crap ton of pictures. Holy balls.
Get this image in my drip.
Hey, look at that. The 405th. All right, let's share this. By the way, 405th is for Halo cosplayers and costumers and stuff, and it's really cool. That's where I send people whenever they ask me about Halo stuff. And hey, you can buy a book there. It's pretty rad. Which, by the way, a handful of people have emailed me saying, hey, these other guys are selling you your book. I'm like, it's cool. It's an affiliate. It's a good deal. They're my friends. We're awesome. Rob, so what are we looking at, Rob? He is, which question is this? I lost it. Wanted to thank you all for the help and advice thus far. Okay. So yeah, Rob is working on this cool thing, and I think it's rad. It's a giant gun, and he posts lots of pictures. So if you go to the 405th and look up this build called Halo BR85HB SR. There you go. Go check that out, everyone. It's cool. All right, a couple more, and then we're going to roll on out of here. Or one more. Here we go. This one's from Alonzo. We're going to answer this one, and then I'm going to go eat peanut butter. Alonzo wants to know, the cosplay community is not big in my country. I just finished my first armor commission, and although it went pretty well, I'm afraid someday people will be able to do their own stuff. Has this thought ever crossed your mind? I don't want to take I don't take armor costume commissions anymore. And in fact, a large part of my business is teaching other people how to make their own stuff. And the idea might be that, oh no, I'm cutting my own business out from under me by giving away the secrets. But when you consider the I only did a dozen or so commissions this year. Yeah. And the word gets out to thousands of people. So eventually your commissions are going to come from people who don't have the time to make their own stuff. People who work really hard at day jobs and make all kinds of money. And instead of spending their time building costumes, they would be happy to pay you to do that. So yeah, it has been exactly the opposite of what you think. By teaching other people, I'm able to take people who wouldn't be customers in the first place, people who have the time but not the money to hire me to make something, and I'm selling them a $5 ebook, and then they can learn to make it themselves, and everyone benefits from that situation. So yeah, go nuts, Alonzo. You be the cosplay force in your country. You be the dude that's bringing it to the people in your country, whichever country that is. All right. And that's it. Thank you, Alonzo, for your question. Thank you, everyone else, for your question. And I'm going to do one more quick plug here. Thank you, everyone who is a patron on Patreon. That's punishedprops.com/punished. I'm sorry. That's not it. Patreon.com/punishedprops. Where 19 people are contributing to the show to make it better, and they are wicked cool people, and I thank them very, very much. The next goal is to do a huge upgrade and turn the audio portion of this into an audio podcast feed, so that everyone can listen to it on their commutes and all that cool stuff. So check that out if you haven't already. And remember, the show is totally free, but if you want to help out, that's how you can do it. People should also go to Facebook and look up WM Armory. WM Armory. Will is my shop mate. He's a cool dude. He's really good. And he's working on a super cool ebook that I'm going to want, all about painting cool stuff like this. So go give him a like. Go to WMArmory.com and check out.
Also on Twitter.
Yep. WM Armory on Twitter and Facebook and WMArmory.com. Thank you, Will.
Thank you for
taking time out of your busy schedule of tormenting my cats. And thank you, everyone else, for showing up. We're out of here.
Bye.
Bye.